We also have a man, Dana White, who has done some of the... He's a tough guy.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelt boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, busting with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
Trump recently won the election. Okay, it wasn't that recent, but I planned to make this video a lot earlier, but I was just kind of lazy. So let's just get on with it. Donald Trump recently won the elections, and surprisingly, Dana White was one of the people to give a speech after Trump won the election. I swear, dude, the USA is a GTA server. Like, I'm not from the US, and how do you guys from the US just act like this is norm? Trump wins the election, and first of all, okay, let's get the UFC president to shout me out. Like, can you imagine, like, in Europe, if, like, a leader just lets, like, Florentino Perez, the owner of Real Madrid, just have a speech? So yeah, okay, let's get on with that. Dana White and Donald Trump obviously have had a long-standing relationship, primarily through their involvement in the world of combat sports and their shared interest in business and media. They even walk out like the Empire from Star Wars every few UFC events. But let's get to the personal relationship. Friendship. Dana White has described Donald Trump as a personal friend, and they have had a friendship for many years. Their relationship dates back to the early 2000s even, when Trump was involved in the world of professional wrestling and White was making a name for himself in MMA. White has publicly spoken about Trump's support of him and the UFC, especially in their early years. They have shared a mutual respect for each other, and White has often praised Trump's business acumen. Trump's effect on the UFC. In 2001, Trump was involved in the UFC's early days.
We can't get a venue. Donald Trump actually says, come to the Taj. We did the Trump Taj Mahal, our first two shows.
At UFC 30, Donald T. Trump made an appearance. Okay, it's me from editing there, and I just noticed that I said Donald T. Trump instead of Donald Trump. Yeah, so that's that. Donald Trump made an appearance at the event and was seen sitting cage side.
I know that you're a genuine fight fan. Because my very first fight was in 2001 at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Yeah. I got knocked out by a spinning back fist. We're not going to bring that up. Is this thing rolling? No, we can't.
I get to watch as much as I can. It's, highly competitive stuff. You know that better than me.
Yeah. Like, even back then in 2001, you hosted it, but I knew you were a fan because the very next event, UFC 32, was at the Meadowlands. And you showed up as just a fan.
Yeah.
You were in. Yeah.
Well, this sport is interesting. Like, I watched Usman. I think he's a terrific guy, by the way, terrific person and a fantastic fighter. And I watched that fight, and he was essentially undefeated and pretty much unbeatable. And he goes into the fight, and he was winning that fight by so much.
Yeah.
It was over, and then the one kick, and it was indeed over, but it ended up much. So you never really know.
This was before Trump became a political figure, and at the time he was more well known for his business empire. Trump has also hosted some UFC events at his properties. For example, the UFC held events at Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City during the early days of the promotion. Now, him providing his venues for UFC events cannot be underestimated, as the UFC was struggling for venues and places to put their cards together. So them being associated with Donald Trump at the time was a very good thing, and arguably still is for the UFC. I mean, nowadays they can go to pretty much every arena in the world, but back then they were really struggling, having events at casinos. Like, it was a lot more underground back then.
It's, it's sort of like human cockfighting in my view, or pit bull fighting. Guys are elbowing each other to the heads, guys are kneeing each other. They get into leg locks and start rolling around on the ground in submission holes.
Joe, you care to respond to that first, Joe?
How is that human cockfighting? You know what that is? That's actual fighting.
There was a massive legitimization battle for the UFC to get it legalized in every state, and Trump helped by hosting events, since finding a venue was very difficult, since influential states like New York and whatever wouldn't allow it. Support for Dana White and the UFC. Donald Trump has also been a vocal supporter of Dana White and the UFC over the years. He has publicly endorsed White's leadership of the UFC and praised the organization's growth, which Trump saw as a result of White's hard work and vision.
You talk about a great guy. How about Dana White? The job he does, right?
Yeah, I want to thank Dana too for helping get us set up together.
Especially Dana. Shout out to Dana. I know you're watching.
Dana.
Yeah, he's the
There's
greatest.
nobody like him. You know. I always say everybody can be replaced except Dana, because this guy travels the world looking for fighters. Okay, get me fighters. He doesn't care where they from, countries nobody ever heard of, and that's where he finds the best fighters. Now he cannot be replaced. He's truly great at what he does.
We cannot replace him.
He's the coolest. I know you're a UFC fan, right?
I am.
Who are like your favorite fighters?
Well, I think Khabib. I mean, how good is Khabib? Do you know who Khabib is?
Of course I know who Khabib is.
Khabib was 29, 28 and 0, and then his father died and he stopped. But I think he never lost. I don't think he ever lost a round. He fought many times. He never lost like a round.
Trump's political campaign and White's support. When Donald Trump ran for president in 2016, Dana White was one of his vocal supporters. White publicly endorsed Trump during the election, even appearing at several of Trump's rallies.
In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon-to-be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
White was one of the prominent figures in the sports world who was supportive of Trump's presidency. In 2018, White was invited to the White House, which is quite funny, for a meeting with Trump to discuss the future of the UFC and MMA in the United States. The USA is a GTA server and no one can convince me otherwise. So, personalities. Funnily enough, they're quite similar in my opinion. Both White and Trump have been known for their brash, unapologetic personalities and their ability to attract media attention.
I'm the boss. I'm the boss. It's my way and no other way. End of story, you know? You're not gonna disrespect me.
Bro, you're not even famous yet. What the are you gonna be like?
They both have a knack for using the media to their advantage. I mean, just look at Dana White spamming John Jones as the absolute GOAT. I mean, he knew what he was doing.
Hello?
John Jones is a whole nother.
Their similarities in terms of their public personas and their willingness to speak their minds helped solidify their friendship and mutual respect. In short, they're just both trolls. They both just like to troll the shit out of people. So to wrap this video up, Dana White and Donald Trump's ties are rooted in a long friendship, with Trump playing a role in the early development of the UFC, supporting White's leadership and even helping promote the organization through his properties and media presence. White in turn has been a vocal supporter of Trump, endorsing him both during the 2016 presidential campaign and throughout Trump's time in office. Their relationship is a mix of business, mutual admiration and personal friendship.